What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Kali bringing you another My Hero Ultra Impact video, but today we are doing something different. If you are new to the channel, please do not forget to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. It does boost the YouTube algorithm. But today we are talking about a tier list. That's right. I know we're early in the game, but you know what? It doesn't stop us from making content and what we believe should be the best characters already in the game, and that's what we're going to do. So, as of right now, we are going to be discussing who we believe is S tier, A tier, B tier, D tier, C tier. Obviously, I skipped C tier first. I'm not sure why I did that, but whatever. Either way, let's get into it. We have, starting off first, is All For One. All For One is a purple unit UR who is, I think, pretty good. He worked for me on my team. He does a lot of work. And so far, let's just go ahead and discuss what he does. He has a plus ultra attack known as I'll Kill You, right? 600% damage to a single enemy. Reduce cooldown on action skills by 5 on himself. So what he does is he can reduce action skills, which is great, which is how I always seem to have action skills. And his action skills so far, which I love, Black Nails, which is that deals 300 damage to a single enemy, reduces cooldown of one ally by 1, cooldown 5 turns, right? So I'm dropping my cooldown for my allies, but I'm also doing 300 damage, which is crazy. He has a AoE attack that's known as Air Cannon. It deals 75% damage to all enemies for 3 turns. Enemies' action skills deal 25% less damage. Cooldown is 6 turns. So he's not only hitting the enemy all enemies, but he's also making sure that they deal less damage by 25%. Then he has, the Charisma, which is when your HP is 50% or higher, increases power by 25% for all villains, increases critical rate by 15%. So he boosts his villains. I guess you could kind of consider him like, for if we're playing Dokkan, right? Let's say like GT heroes. He'll be like the GT hero leader, just because he's constantly like boosting, like GT. But here it will be more for villains. Now he can be ran with other characters, but mostly it's for villains you want to run them with. So right now, his last skill is called Man of Pure Evil, which is when your HP is 50% or less. Action skills deal 50% or more damage for himself, right? So if I had to rate him, I would rate him at an A. He'll be more of an A for me. He's not an S tier, but he's also not a B tier, because he's actually doing what he needs to do, not only for his team, but also for himself. Anyways, let's get on to the next one. And we got Momo. And Momo is a blue unit who I think is fantastic. I think blue units right now are so needed, especially when it comes to the story, just because of how many red units I seem to run into. I run into a ton of red units. I would say right now, Momo has this plus ultra attack called MHA Cannon, which deals 550% to one enemy, but it also fills your team's plus ultra gauge by 20%. She also has First Aid, which removes one status condition from all allies, and then also heals 25% HP for your team, which has a cooldown of 6 turns. Her MHA dolls 175% damage to all enemies, decreases all enemy speed by 15% for 3 turns. Cooldown is 6 turns. So she's doing damage and also decreasing your enemy speed by 15% for 3 turns, which is really good, especially if you have a opponent that is faster than you and you need to get your attack off before they can kill you. She has also Special Operation, which is her auto skill, which increases all skill blue type allies by 15%. So if you combine it with blue allies such as Kachan or SR Todoroki, you'll also go ahead and increase their power of 15%. Her second auto skill, which is unlocked on page 1, node 1, at the start of battle, all allies are immune to 1 debuff when HP is 50% or less. Increases blue plus ultra gauge by 20%. So I would say Momo is about an A to an S tier. I would say she might be lower S, just high A. She is better than All For One. I will say that. So let's go on to the next one. And the next one, which is what we have, is Kacchan. So Kacchan, I think, is literally living up to his name, called I'm the Best, Katsuki Bakugo. He's just a fantastic unit in general, right? What he does is House Impact, which deals 600 damage to a single enemy, increases power by 40% if enemy is burned. So if you combine them with Endeavor and you combine them with Todoroki and you're just burning the heck out of people, you're just constantly powering up. Just literally think about it. Now for his action skill, he does AP Shot, which is 300% damage to a single enemy with medium chance to inflict burn for 3 turns. So once again, that plays with his plus ultra, because then after that, when this skill is used in chain and succeeds, decreases enemy defense by 15%, cooldown 4 turns. He gets his action skill on page 1, node 4 of the ability board, which is 175% damage to all enemies, medium chance to inflict blindness for 2 turns, and then this is an area of effect. So you're not only hitting all your enemies, but you're also blinding them, which is pretty good. His auto skill, King Explosion Murder, when HP is 50% or above, increase own power by 25%, increases power by 5% per enemy defeated. Which is, I don't know, it sounds great. You're kicking the enemy's butt and you're constantly boosting them up, right? Which also helps when it comes to your second auto skill, which is called Explosive Sweat. When HP is 50% or above, increases own speed by 25%, increases power by 3% every turn up to 30%. Now you're with both auto skills, you're constantly powering up. Not only your power by 5% per enemy defeated, but also you're increasing your speed by 25%. And then you're also increasing power by 3% all the way up to 30%. So you can get pretty strong, right? So let's say you kill about 3 enemies, that's already 15%. But every turn that goes by, you're going up by 3. So you can get up to about 45% per enemy. So it's pretty cool, man. I would have to rate him S tier. Let's be honest, he's just good. Alright, so we got the second, I believe, S tier character, Ochacho, who is just fantastic. She is a great unit, She has Weightless Rock Drop, does 550% damage to a single enemy. All allies critical rate increased by 20% for 3 turns. Action skill is I can do it with support. Heals all allies HP by 20%. Applies evasion to all allies for 1 turn. The cooldown is for 7. Her second action skill is called Gunhead Martial Arts. Counter normal attacks for 3 turns. Increase own power by 25% for 3 turns. Cooldown 6 turns. Right? Then she has the next one called Potential to Grow, which is her auto skill. All knowledge green type allies critical rate increased by 20%. So she's not only boosting herself, but she also go ahead and boost Todoroki as well, since he is a green UR. So he's getting a 50% crit rate up. Her last auto skill, which is called Zero Gravity, when the evasion is active, increase own speed by 30%. So what's good about her is she does a move that is already increasing her evasion time for her and allies for 1 turn, but then she's also increasing her speed when she does that action skill. So that's 30% of a speed increase just because she went and did an action skill. Her action skill called I Can Do It with support. Automatic S tier. Automatic. Right? The next one we have is called Hawks, who is also a green unit, so it plays into effect with Ochacho. Right? So Hawks is he has the plus ultra attack called Fierce Wings. 550% damage to a single enemy, increases power by 30% if enemy has speed debuff for 1 turn. Give evasion to self. So both of them, once again, they will also be playing off each other. They invade, like she's giving him an evasion, he's getting an evasion from himself, and like literally that's debuffing the enemy. Like, come on. He has Feather Shotgun, which does 175% damage to all enemies. Ally speed increased by 15% for 3 turns, and that is a cooldown for 4 turns. His next action skill was called Feather Sword. 325% damage to a single enemy. All allies add second attack chance for 2 turns for a total cooldown of 5 turns. So, and then we have the last auto skill, which is called at the actually second to last, I'm sorry, Fast Man. At the start of the battle, all allies invade 1 attack once, and then when HP is 50% or higher, increases own speed by 15%. So you are always able to evade 1 attack at the start of your turn as long as he is there, right? That's for everyone. As long as your health is 50% or higher, then you also increase speed by 15%. That's pretty freaking good, man. His last one is called My Own Pace. Increases own power by 25% when evasion is active. So he's constantly gonna have that because he's constantly gonna be evading. I would definitely put him in the A tier. He's better than All For One. But like I said, All For One can be good. It's just that he hasn't had the ability to get most villains. As you can see, mostly down here is heroes besides for Shiki. So let's go on to Shiki now. Alright, so for Shigaraki, he's a purple unit. I think he's awesome, to be honest with you. I don't care what anyone says. I think him and All For One just work so well together, right? So well together. He's a purple unit as well, and what he does is a vacuum collapse, which is plus ultra, deals 600% damage to a single enemy, inflict 40% damage if enemy is a pro hero. So obviously he's an anti-hero because he's a villain, so he's doing a lot of damage to heroes, and that's just not with that ability. His action skill Collapse also does 300% damage to a single enemy. If enemy is a pro hero, medium chance to apply fear. Okay. Then he has Necrocrosis, which is 300% damage to a single enemy. If enemy is a pro hero, decrease enemy attack by 20% for 3 turns. And now this is where his auto skill kicks in. League of Villains. Villain allies power increased by 25%. So like I said, he is playing off of All For One, right? Which is where he's literally just like boosting the heck out of him, and he's boosting the heck out of him. So they're just boosting each other. Chaotic Successor, when HP is 50% or higher, increases own power by 40%. So if I had to rate him, villain purposes, S tier. He does way too much damage to heroes. It's such a big thing in this game. Majority of the characters are heroes right now, so he is S tier automatically. He's a great unit. If you are to re-roll so far, I would say to try to focus so far on these two right here, and if you settle with like one of these two right here, like both of them, I would just sit on it because they're just so good. All 3 of those characters are fantastic. So now we're gonna be discussing Kirishima, my boy Red Riot. So Red Riot is pretty good. Red Riot is pretty good, right? What Red Riot is able to do, obviously I love the fact that they made him red. A little play on words I see. He has Red Gauntlet, which is a 550% damage to a single enemy, and then he gains barrier on self for 3 turns. So he's blocking for 3 turns with his barrier, and then he has a counter, which is called Red counter. For 3 turns, counter all normal attacks. For 2 turns, reduce self damage taken by 30%. Cooldown for 5 turns. He has his action skill known as Red Knuckle, which does 300% damage to a single enemy. Gain barrier on self for 3 turns. Reduce self damage taken by 30% for 1 turn. And then his auto skill is called Sturdy Hero. All power red type allies increase power by 15%. And then his last one being called Red Impulse increases plus ultra gauge by 5% every time you inflict crit damage. So I believe he's pretty good. I'll put him at an A tier. The only thing is it looks like he's only for himself. He doesn't really help the team, so that really hurts him. So as a man by himself, he's really, really good. But other than that, he's not really doing much for your team. Besides being a red unit for green enemies, right? Now we have my boy Shoto. I personally have Shoto. I am thinking he might be one of the lower A tier characters, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, just because of the fact he doesn't do too much damage for the most part, right? But let's get into it. Right now we have Shoto. He's a green unit, and he does expansion and cooling heat wave, which does 550% damage to a single enemy, medium chance of freezing 1 turn, medium chance of burning 3 turns to 1 enemy. So the thing about freezing in this game, yeah, you can freeze, but if you hit them, they break out of the freeze. But also when you hit them, when they break out of the freeze, it's also automatically a crit. So that's also something you should pay attention to. His second move is called Ice Block, which does 175% damage to all enemies, medium chance to freeze all enemies. When chain succeeds, increase your power by 30% for 3 turns. He has another action skill known as Flame Dance, 175% damage to all enemies, medium chance to burn all enemies, increase your plus ultra gauge by 20%, cooldown is 7 turns. And then he has auto skill, which is known as when your HP is 50% or higher, increase your plus ultra gauge by 25% once during battle, called I'm a Hero. And then below freezing, when your HP is less than 50%, increase your power by 30%. When your HP is less than 30%, inflict freeze status to enemy when you are attacked. So right now, if I had to rate him, he might be a B tier, maybe a low A tier. I'm gonna go with B. I have him personally. I've seen what he can do. A lot of his stuff literally plays on the fact that, like, it's regarded around his plus ultra and then around like his HP percentage. So like his last auto skill is literally based off of 50% being less HP or 30% being less HP, and his defense is already low. So with his defense being so low, he's not really that tanky. So it's kind of hard to keep him alive, honestly. But that's just my honest opinions. I do love the character though. I love using him. He's done fantastic work for me. Now we're gonna start with Shota Aizawa, who is a heart character, which is like the gold little symbol heart, and he has plus ultra attack, capture combo, 550% damage to a single enemy, remove all buffs from attacked enemy, medium chance to seal skills for 2 turns. That right there is already a good thing. He can seal your skills for 2 turns at a medium rate. He has a blinding kick, 300% damage to a single enemy, randomly remove 1 buff from the attacked enemy, cooldown for 5 turns. He has action skill capture claw, 300% damage to a single enemy when used in a chain of 2 or more and succeeds. Has a medium chance to seal skills for 2 turns. So he already has 2 ways of sealing skills. And then he has the auto skill increase pro ally power by 20%. No good hero is a one-trick pony. And then his last auto skill, tough fight, when HP is 50% or less, increase own speed by 30%. Just because he can seal, I'm putting him at an S tier. I am. He can seal enemies skills. I think that's fantastic. Anything that can seal supers or anything like that is fantastic in my opinion. Now to get to Deku. This is a hard Deku, and he is going to be doing 1 for all full cowling shoot style, which is its plus ultra, which does 500% damage to a single enemy, damage based on enemy speed. He has full cowling again, which is increases own speed by 40% for 3 turns, fill own plus ultra gauge by 30% cooldown for turns. Detroit Smash is action skill, which is a 350% damage to a single enemy, increases own power by 30% for 3 turns, inflicts portion of attack damage on self. And then he has Be the Best Hero, which is his auto skill. When HP is 50% or below, fill own plus ultra gauge by 30% once per battle. And then Tough Fight, which is when HP is 50% or higher, increases own critical rate by 20%. I honestly think he is a C tier. I think he has too much drawbacks. He's hurting himself. Yeah, he does a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, I don't think he's that great. I think he's just C. Or if I had to say, maybe he'll be a B. Maybe I'll move him to A, move him to B. Who knows? Like I said, I like Todoroki. I just think he could have been better. And now let's get to the last character, which is Deku again, which is the red UR. He has one for all, full cowling level 1, 650% damage to a single enemy for 3 turns, inflicts self damage, 350% damage to a single enemy, increases your own power by 30% for 3 turns, receive a certain amount of damage inflicted. That's DELWARE Smash. And then he has action skill, full cowling level 1, increases your power by 40% for 3 turns, increases speed by 40% for 3 turns. And then willingness to confront, when critical hit occurs, increase your own skill power by 30% for 3 turns. When your HP is 50% or less, gain automatic 10% HP recovery for 3 turns. And then his last one being those who inherit the light, increase your critical rate by 25% when your HP is 50% or less. Honestly, I'll put him at C. So this would be my tier list. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, if you want me to do an SR version of this, I can. I'm willing to go ahead and do that. Just let me know. Thank you guys for all tuning in. It has been fantastic covering this information for you. I hope this helps you out on what you want to re-roll for, or what units you believe are better. Go ahead and also tell me in the comment section below. See ya.